Hello everyone, Kodie here. So yesterday, Hamish announced on the State of the Game livestream that weapon talent recalibration will be coming with update 1.3. Weapon talent recalibration. Stay tuned with me while I roll the intro. I'll show you the highlights and then I'll share my thoughts and feedback as well.
You will now be able to recalibrate your weapon talents.
Right. So people saw this.
So good.
Yeah, people saw this weapon kit that was on E3, this
Yes.
new little thing, and speculated on Reddit and whatever what it was for, and it's for paying for recalibrating your weapons. You get to pick one of your talents and unlocks on your weapon and re-roll it to a completely new one. What it's going to mean for us is just in comfort is if you find a gun that's
So close.
2/3 good,
Yeah.
you can get that god roll by recalibrating it.
That's
I'm really
so
happy
good.
that we finally managed to get that in there.
That is awesome.
So yeah, as Hamish said, that is very awesome. And as Frederick, the weapon developer, pointed out as well, that means if you get a weapon with 2 out of the 3 talents that you like, of course you can now recalibrate the third, and you've got the perfect weapon. And that's not easy to come by in the division. I've been playing since day 1, playing quite a few hours, and I've only really had like 3 or 4 weapons that I've really enjoyed. So that's really good news. And of course this means there's going to be less time crafting, there's going to be less time grinding, and you're going to be able to get decent and half-decent weapons much easier now. I also want to point out that I think we're going to see more variety in terms of weapon talents as well. Of course, people like to go with deadly, brutal, and responsive, those 3 weapon talents, and I think that's just going to get more popular. But I do think we're going to see a lot more combinations of the talents that make people bleed and blind, and those crowd control talents. I think we're going to see those come out to play more as well. And I just want to point out, I think it'll actually tighten the field between the casual and the hardcore players as well, when you think about it. Because the hardcore players who play a few or several hours a day, they're going to get the weapons they want because they're going to keep playing. The casual ones to play who, they play a couple of hours every week, it's highly unlikely they'll ever get a god roll weapon, or they'll be, really lucky to do so. So now with this recalibration to weapon talents, it's really going to tighten the field between the broad spectrum of casuals and hardcore. So I think that's really exciting stuff. So I'm really excited for the future. Well done, Ubisoft.
And that means that on these guns that we just talked about, if you don't like one of these new talents for whatever reason, you can roll them away.
Yes, so there's dedicated talents. So maybe we weren't clear about that before, but they are weapon talents that are dedicated to that family of weapons.
They'll
so
only be on those.
a G36 will always drop with focused.
Yeah.
Always or have a chance to?
Always.
Okay, always.
Yeah.
G36 will always have focused. SVD will always have decisive, and PP19 will always have hurried.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And a showstopper will also have the showstopper because that's its
Yeah.
talent. But you can get rid of those if you don't like it.
Yes, and you can get your
So
old favorites if you want.
so if you want a showstopper with something else, then
Yeah,
the showstopper
absolutely.
talent or
And so I think that's going to be a real relief when hunting new guns, especially now that the meta changes with all of these new stats and whatnot. There's going to be a better chance to find the gun that you need quicker.
I definitely think so.
And there we go as well, as they discussed, with the new weapons that are coming out which have the dedicated name weapon talents, you can now remove those as well because some of them do kind of sound rubbish. I wouldn't personally go for some of them. So now if they do deal good damage or have good handling statistics, you can just recalibrate those weapon talents away. And that's really good stuff as well, so really good move there as well. There's a couple of things I just want to point out and talk about as well. I do still think we need a cap on recalibration. It's costing me like 300,000 credits just to recalibrate something multiple times. Because, I've changed builds here and there. I've gone from pulse to sticky bomb to support roles and things like that. And it's cost me like 300,000. That's a good couple of hours of farming now. And it's getting a bit ridiculous because you might try and recalibrate and not even get the one you want. So I do think we need a cap on that. I would also like to have the option to recalibrate a second stat on gear. Now I know straight away some people are going to be like, no, that's going to make things OP. People are going to be able to be way too overpowered. But when you think about how many stats there are on a piece of gear, then there is a lot to choose from, and it really should be exciting when an item drops in the Dark Zone. It should be like, wow, look, this item's dropped. Not a case of, I wonder if it's got good stats. But I really do think we should be able to recalibrate a second stat. and even make it a combination of, say, normal currency, dark zone currency, and Phoenix credits, because Phoenix credits are getting a little bit useless now. Dark zone credits, if you had to pay with it with that, I know some people would be annoyed because there are a lot of PvE players out there still, but it would encourage people to actually go into the dark zone to actually get those credits. And at the same time, it would actually help the risk versus reward system of going rogue, which I want to talk about in another video as well. But yeah, that's all I've got to talk about on weapon talents. I'm really excited for the future. Some really good news, some really good changes, and some concerning ones coming up with 1.3. But yeah, stay safe out there, agents. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again. Bye.